So when we talk about cloud storage, we make certain assumptions. So if I say that, I'm explaining Dropbox to a friend or family member, for example, I could talk about Dropbox, and some assumptions that I make when I talk about Dropbox is simply that my data is going to be backed up. That if I have pictures uploading from my phone to be stored in Dropbox, that if I drop my phone in the lake, that my pictures are still intact in Dropbox. So that's one of the assumptions that we make. Another assumption is that we'll be able to access the cloud storage provider, whether that's Dropbox or another one, anywhere that there's an internet connection. So as long as I have the Dropbox app on my phone or the Dropbox application on my laptop, or if I'm logging into the Dropbox website, the assumption is that I'll be able to access that cloud storage. So that's another big piece. And then finally, one of the big assumptions that we make is that data will maintain its integrity. So as a user of Dropbox, or I'm using Dropbox as an example a lot here, but really it could be any cloud storage provider. Another assumption that I make is that the data will maintain its integrity. So again, I'm not going to check and make sure that my file got uploaded successfully for every single file that gets uploaded to my cloud storage provider, but rather I just make that assumption that, hey, Dropbox didn't give me an error. I go out to the Dropbox website and I see my files listed there. We make the assumption that the file maintains its integrity. Now, if any of these assumptions are broken, that again is somewhat of a deal breaker for me then as a user of a cloud storage provider, because those are really fundamental things that we look for in a cloud storage provider and that we should look for and come to expect from a cloud storage provider. So, Dropbox is another one, Google Drive, OneDrive, that have all incorporated in this functionality for sharing and, kind of adding a social aspect to our pictures and cloud storage. So that's becoming an increasingly common feature, and it's almost become a standard within cloud storage providers to allow, to some extent, sharing or allow collaborating on particular files that are stored in the cloud. So, another big name that I haven't mentioned yet is Facebook. Of course, Facebook, if you upload pictures to Facebook, those pictures are stored in the cloud. And of course, Facebook, being a very social platform, just has this functionality built in. But that really is becoming somewhat of a new standard, I guess, for cloud storage. So lastly, let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses of cloud storage. So as we wrap up, we'll be talking about some strengths and weaknesses of cloud storage. So some of the strengths are availability. So as long as there's an internet connection, I'll be able to access my files. Another strength is that there's no physical device that I need to carry around when going between home and work or home and school, that they're automatically stored in the cloud, and as long as I have internet, I can access them. Another strength is that files are backed up in case of hardware failure. So I use the example of dropping my phone in the lake, for example, after I've taken pictures that have been uploaded to my cloud storage provider. So if I drop my phone in the lake, of course I'll be disappointed that my phone is drowned, but I will still, hopefully, as long as I'm using a cloud storage provider, have my files backed up. And another strength is that most of them support file sharing. Some of the weaknesses, and again, this is both a strength and a weakness, is that it relies on an internet connection. So that's a strength in that it's available anywhere you have internet. But of course, that is also a weakness in the sense that it requires an internet connection. So if I'm somewhere where I don't have good service on my mobile device, I'm not going to be able to access my files. Another one is that there are varying levels of file security. So if you look in the news, if you do any sort of searches in the news about data breaches or different security levels, you're going to find a lot in the current news. And in the past, there's been a lot of data breaches, a lot of holes that have been discovered in services, even big name services, that, if someone knew about this, they could have maliciously taken advantage of my files being on the server and then accessed them. So that is, of course, a big area that you want to make sure, to investigate before using a cloud storage provider, especially at a corporate level, is making sure that their level of security is very, very high and that they have a good reputation. But that is, of course, a big weakness, or a potential weakness. And then lastly is the cost. Most cloud storage providers offer a small amount of storage space for free, essentially just to get you hooked with their service, essentially. And then as you require more space, or as you, for yourself or for your team, then they tend to charge for certain data limits. So if I want a terabyte of storage, if I want 100 gigabytes of storage, then you'll pay that particular premium that's associated with that. All right, so we've talked about the cloud and then drilled in on cloud storage. Thanks for watching.